Hello, I'm Bill Wheeling. I'm one of the Assistant Roadway Design Engineers at Nebraska Department of Transportation. Thank you for your interest in this project. This is a presentation that was presented at the pre-construction public information meeting for the N-370 to Omaha project. All of the boards and maps presented at the meeting are also available on the project's webpage. Let's get started. The project is on Nebraska Highway 50 and begins on the south side of the interchange of Highway 50 with Nebraska Highway 370 and extends north for approximately 5.18 miles to the intersection of Highway 50 with U.S. Highway 275 and Nebraska Highway 92. The project will take approximately 2 construction seasons to complete, and we will show that timeline later in the presentation. As you can see in this slide, we have a variety of work that will need to be completed to provide an improved driving surface for the public, such as bridge repair, intersection upgrades, concrete repairs, milling and resurfacing, and shoulder replacements. The work will require lane closures for most of the project and will also require us to detour traffic in order to facilitate construction in a timely manner. Now let's dive deeper into some of the improvements, including the detours, starting with the work we plan to complete in this calendar year. We will begin our discussion on work in 2024 with our major bridge repair. The structures over the South Papillion Creek and West Papillion Creek will have numerous things done, including deck repairs, asphalt overlay including a liquid membrane, epoxy polymer overlay or EPO on sidewalks, buttress remodel, abutment repair, and erosion repairs. Both locations will require the use of crossovers in order to maintain traffic during construction and will be limited to 1 lane in each direction. The structure over the West Papillion Creek will be constructed in 2 phases with a crossover so 1 lane of traffic can be maintained in each direction during both phases. During each phase, the sidewalk on the structure will receive an epoxy polymer overlay or EPO, which will require the sidewalk to be closed during that time. Pedestrian traffic will be directed to the sidewalk on the opposite side of the structure where the EPO is not being applied. The structure over the South Papillion Creek will also be constructed in 2 phases with crossovers so 1 lane of traffic can be maintained in each direction during both phases. The crossover on the north side of the structure will be constructed so that the intersection with Chandler Road will remain open. The sidewalk on this structure will also receive an EPO, and since the structure only has a sidewalk on the west side, this will require us to provide another method to maintain pedestrian traffic. In order to do this, pedestrian traffic will be shifted onto the median during the first phase and will be protected from head-to-head traffic by concrete barriers. Now let's talk about the improvements we will construct at the intersection of Highway 50 with Harrison Street. The image on the right side of this slide shows us the existing condition of the N50 and Harrison Street intersection. The improvements at this intersection will require us to have 3 phases of construction in order to complete our final design, which is to have dual left turn lanes in both the northbound and southbound directions of Highway 50 onto Harrison Street. Pedestrian traffic will need to be detoured to the other side depending on the phase we are in. Also, during the first 2 phases, traffic in the northbound direction will be limited to 1 through lane, while the southbound direction will still have 2 through lanes. During the final phase, Harrison Street will also be reduced to single lanes when adjacent to construction. Now let's take a closer look at the 3 phases for this intersection. The first phase will widen the intersection on the southeast side for a right turn lane. Pedestrian traffic on the south side of Harrison Street will be detoured to the north side during this phase. The next phase will widen the northeast side of the intersection to allow for the dedicated right turn that will taper into the existing northbound lanes on the north side of the intersection. During this phase, pedestrian traffic on the north side of Harrison Street will be detoured to the south side of the intersection. During the final phase, we will be constructing the median on the north side and further south of the intersection, which is not shown on the slide. Pedestrian traffic through the intersection on the north side of Harrison Street will be detoured to the south side of the Highway 50 and Harrison Street intersection. Once construction is completed, we will have dual left turn lanes in all 4 legs of the intersection, along with 2 through lanes and a right turn lane in each leg as well. It should be noted that there may be additional temporary lane restrictions when final striping of the lanes is completed. The next portion of work that will be done is the replacement of pavement along with inlet repairs from Madison Street to U Street. The work will require multiple varying lane closures during construction. Y Street will need to be closed for approximately 28 days to facilitate construction and to allow us to face Stony Brook Boulevard in such a manner that we can maintain traffic movements along Stony Brook, although they may be restricted to a single lane in each direction. A detour will be required for the pavement replacement in this area that will utilize 144th Street, Q Street, and Millard Avenue. This slide outlines the area of pavement replacement at this location. One lane of traffic will be maintained in each direction up to the intersection where Highway 50 splits and continues east, while 144th Street continues north. At this point during Phase 1, both directions of traffic will be required to take a detour route utilizing Q Street and 144th Street. During Phase 2 of construction, northbound to eastbound traffic on Highway 50 will be on the new pavement, while the westbound to southbound traffic on Highway 50 will still need to utilize the previously mentioned detour. During both phases, traffic signal heads on the overhead structure across the Highway 50 and 144th Street intersection will be shifted on the overhead structure to match with our temporary striping during construction. With the pavement reconstruction in this area, we will be required to reconstruct curb ramps as well. At the intersection of Highway 50 with Drexel Street, we will need to detour pedestrian traffic from the 144th Street Trail down Drexel Street to the intersection with 147th Street and then back up to the 144th Street Trail. The last portion of work that we expect to complete in 2024 is between Highway 370 and Cornhusker Road. The section of Highway 50 in this area will have pavement repairs, sealing of cracks and joints, and shoulder replacement in some locations. No detour will be required, but we will have lane closures in order to complete this work. For the start of the 2025 construction season, we plan to begin with the pavement work required from Cornhusker Road to P Street along Highway 50. The work in this area includes milling the existing surface and overlaying with asphalt, as well as inlet repairs. The area between Madison Street and U Street will not be worked on since the pavement in that area was replaced during the 2024 construction season. No detour will be required, but we will have lane closures in order to complete this work. The next portion of work we have on Highway 50 during 2025 will be from the north side of the West Papillion Creek Bridge up to the intersection with US 275 and Highway 92. The work in that section will consist of applying pavement sealer on the existing concrete. No detour will be required, but we will have lane closures in order to complete the work. Miller Day's celebration occurs each year during August, and our contractor has been advised that no work can occur in this area during the celebration. The last portion of work that will occur with this project during 2025 will be at the interchanges of Highway 50 with Highway 370 and Interstate 80. Work on the bridge over Highway 370 consists of deck repairs, buttress remodel, expansion joint replacement, and an asphalt overlay including a liquid membrane. The bridge over I-80 will have approach repairs, median repairs, and expansion joint replacement. The ramps at both interchanges will have pavement repairs along with joint and crack sealing. That concludes our detailed discussion on the work that will be completed to improve this section of Highway 50. Now let's take a closer look at our anticipated schedule for the project. As we mentioned previously, we anticipate our major bridge repair work on the South Papillion Creek and West Papillion Creek bridges, along with the pavement repair and patching work to start off the project in the spring of 2024. Pavement repairs and patching have already begun on the project, and our contractor anticipates that they will be able to complete pavement repairs and patching for the entire project within the 2024 construction season. Work on the pavement replacement from Madison to U Street is planned to begin in June, and we anticipate completion by the end of the 2024 construction season. The detour required for this pavement replacement will also begin in June. We anticipate the detour will not be needed by the end of August. The Harrison Street intersection improvements are anticipated to begin in the fall of 2024 and be completed by the end of the 2024 construction season. The 2025 construction season for this project will kick off with the milling and overlay for the entire project with the exception of the area from Madison Street to U Street, where the pavement was replaced in the construction season 2024. This section also includes the pavement sealer we will be applying to the section of N-50 north of the West Papillion Creek Bridge up to the intersection of Highway 50 with US 275 and Nebraska 92. Contractor anticipates beginning work on the minor bridge repairs on the structure over Highway 370 and Interstate 80 in July 2025. This minor bridge repair will also include the work that is needed for the ramps at both interchanges. Completion is anticipated in the fall of 2025. This concludes our presentation for the pre-construction meeting for the N-370 to Omaha project along Highway 50. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact NDOT's project manager, Derek Torson, or Mike Tarver, the project manager for our contractor, Iowa Civil Contracting Incorporated. Thank you very much for taking the time to learn about this project.